Good morning. How you doing today? I hope you're feeling well, and I hope I can make your morning even brighter. I'm so excited about today's show because it's all about desserts. Come on, bring it on. We have a whole bunch of brand new dessert recipes that you are going to want to run out, get the ingredients, and make. And most of them are super duper easy. So, in fact, all of them are really easy. So I just can't tell you how thrilled I am with today's show. We just put together all different kinds of desserts because it's fun to do new different stuff. And also it's really fun to do an all dessert party. Think about it. I got an email a while back from a woman who said, is it okay if we just do an all dessert party and instead of having, food and appetizers? And I said, absolutely. Can I come? What time is it? You just need to let the people know that that's what it's going to be about. So, just say desserts only or, something like that. So they're not expecting anything more than that. But, from a book club to just having the ladies over or just even an adult all desserts party, grown-ups or kids. Well, kids, you better throw some sandwiches in there too. But anyway, we're going to have some fun with desserts. And we're going to start out with a super easy mini Oreo cheesecake recipe, and I don't do cheesecakes. You know that by now. Although I did a no-bake one recently, and it was fabulous. This one you do bake, but it's so quick and easy, and these are just fun. And if they've got Oreos in the recipe, I love them right there. So sip of coffee, and I'm going to get to work, although not much work today. Easy stuff. What else is on the menu? Oh, yeah, tiramisu cupcakes, the cutest monkey cupcakes for your kids' party. We're going to make an apple tart that is just out of this world. So chocolate eclairs, I could go on and on and on. All right, mini dessert Oreo cheesecakes. Super simple. First what we're going to do is we're going to line, and I got this idea, I have to tell you, from my producer, Abby. She is like a baker type person, and she's always coming up with fun new desserts and things like that. So this is actually a recipe that she did, and it turned out great, so we're doing it too. So basically, we're going to line our muffin tin with some liners. This is easy enough. And the crust for these mini Oreo cheesecakes couldn't be easier. We're going to open a package of Oreos. And in the bottom of each little cupcake liner, we're going to put an Oreo. So that's your crust. It's my kind of crust. Drop a cookie in there and it's all good. And I always talk about, trying to get your kids in the kitchen to help, and, magic happens really in the kitchen. And the way to, entice them is start with desserts. I have a picture in my cookbook of Ireland and Riley. Ireland I don't even think she was, just barely walking, but we were making a cake, and I found this old picture, and I just thought sometimes a picture is worth more than 1,000 words, and both kids are licking the beaters, and she can, like I say, she can barely walk, and they've just got big smiles on their faces, and I really did. I really invited both of them in the kitchen with me early on. We started with treats, and the next thing you knew, I've got Ireland making scrambled eggs and sauteing mushrooms and making dinner. So, really, they learned to measure, and I have a little drawer. Now she uses my utensils, but I used to have a little drawer in the kitchen where they were all her little tools and her own little apron, and it just really made her feel special. So cook with your kids, cook with your grandkids, or before you know it, they'll be out of the house and they'll never have learned to cook. So bring them into the kitchen, help with desserts. These are so easy. So again, I'm just lining my cupcake liners with the Oreo cookies, and now I'm going to move on to the cheesecake part of this recipe. So the recipe calls for 2 8-ounce blocks of softened cream cheese. I mean, this is just so easy. And these are a total make-ahead. So, that's the other great thing about a dessert party. You can get all these done ahead of time, or ask a bunch of people to bring different desserts. You don't have to do it all. I talk about that a lot, too. If people are asking you, if you're having people over and they're asking, what should I bring? Don't say nothing. Be specific, and don't feel bad about it. I think people appreciate you know, times are so busy that people appreciate you being straight with them and say, hey, do you mind picking up this or bringing this? Takes the guesswork out of things, and then you don't end up with 53 of the same things. Okay, so 2 softened blocks, 8-ounce blocks of cream cheese, 2 eggs. You know, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the one thing when you're doing cheesecakes, and I've learned this from the pastry chefs I've worked with along the way, is you really need to beat that cream cheese and get the lumps and bumps out of it. And if you don't do it at the beginning, those lumps and bumps will be there at the end. So take a few minutes and use your mixer and just beat that up until it's nice and smooth. And by the way, if you have any easy, wonderful dessert recipes, I need to know about them. Please email them to me. I love getting your recipes. They inspire me, and I make them, and sometimes I use them on the show. We got to stick together, help each other out. That's my motto. Okay. So this looks pretty good. Getting that mixture nice and smooth. Now I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of sugar, 2 eggs, Deb and I were talking earlier, and you know, cheesecakes kind of scare me anyway. And you know, we were talking that we have never really done the kind that you bake in the oven. I do a no-bake. These turned out perfect, and they're really, really easy. So if you want to start experimenting with the whole cheesecake thing, this is a great one to start with, because you don't have to worry about the cheesecake cracking and all that kind of stuff. You know, some cheesecake recipes call for, like, you know, 5-6 blocks of cream cheese and all these ingredients, and it's like by the time you buy it all at the grocery store, you know, it costs a fortune, and then you're nervous about, you know, messing it up. So this is a great way to kind of get into doing a cheesecake. So again, 1/2 cup of sugar, 2 eggs, 2 blocks of cream cheese, and then I'll do a teaspoon of vanilla. I like a lot of vanilla, so that looks perfect. Real vanilla extract. There were so few ingredients in here that stick with the good stuff. A lot of people are using those vanilla pastes these days. Those are great too. I just want to get this all combined. Christine, the happy cookie lady's here in the house today, and she always makes everybody happy. She has 2 fabulous desserts that she's going to make for us today, so always excited to see her. Now, I'm using this little great portion scoop to fill these guys. You don't want to fill them too full, but unlike, you know, regular cupcakes, they're not going to puff up on you, so you can fill them a little more full than you would with cupcakes. These I have fallen in love with. I'm starting to bake a little bit more. I'm learning from our area pastry chefs and things like that, and you know, it makes baking so much easier when you have to, you know, when you do chocolate chip cookies or when you're doing different size cupcakes. I did a while back. Ireland's Girl Scout troop had a bake sale. I did 12 dozen cupcakes, and they were Texas cupcakes. So I got the perfect size scoop. When you're doing that many, that kind of a quantity, you really got to get it down like, you know, like a factory, or else it's going to be a nightmare. So I, you know, got the right scoop, saw my good friend Julie over at Creative Cake Supplies, and she set me up and got a piping bag. And I'm learning that when it comes to baking, there's so many tricks to make it easier. These I love. See how we're not getting drips all over the muffin tins? Then that saves on the mess and all that kind of good stuff. So this is going to make a little more than 2 dozen cheesecakes. Now we're not done yet. We got all these other Oreos, and they're not for me to eat. Although I might have to snag a couple of them. We're going to take some of the rest of the Oreos. About 10 or so. Got to leave a couple for Deb and I. You're welcome. My dad was the biggest Oreo nut. And because we always had them in the house for my dad, I didn't really, it's kind of one of those things where if you have it in the house, it's not that big of a deal, and I really didn't eat them. Oh, well, now I really like them because I don't have them that often. But I will never forget, now really I'm dating myself, but do you remember, Deb, when Double Stuff came out?
Yes.
It was like, I don't know, my dad was the happiest man alive. Yeah, it was like a huge deal when they put double the filling in there. Now it's, now they do all different, they do a mint, they do different seasonal ones for like Easter and Christmas and things like that. They're kind of cute. Okay, so I'm just going to crush these up. These are going to go on the top. And you don't need them real fine. Because we kind of want to know that they're Oreos. So these just get put on the top. Now you could certainly make these, and I would suggest making these the day before, because they really need to not only bake, they need to then cool in the refrigerator. And no need to, I get a lot of questions about, you have to take the filling out when you're making these, whether it be a crust or the topping. No. Don't worry about doing that. It's all good. Ireland had her first bite of cheesecake the other day. It was a no-bake cheesecake that I made. And she said, you know what, Mom? I never really thought I'd like cheesecake, but I like it. I'm like, yep, you're a girl after my own heart. And with the Oreos, she's really going to like this. So I like to load up the top. I want everybody to know their Oreo. It's an Oreo, and no skimping. So these go into a preheated. Did we do these, Deb, at about 350?
325.
325, a little bit lower bake, because we don't want them to get brown. And they take, every oven's different, and these are going to be a little bit hard to tell because we've got the brown cookie on the top, but we're waiting for that filling to set up a little bit. So basically, anywhere from about 25 to 30 minutes. Keep an eye on them, and then they're going to bake, and then you need to get them right into the refrigerator to cool. And let me show you how they turn out. And they're just yummy, yummy, yummy. There we go. It's our mini Oreo cheesecakes, and then you can just, take the wrapper off just like this and have a bite. And they're really good. Recipes on our website. You can also pick this up at any Festival Foods.